protect yourself whenever you have a problem with your builder.
Ability to protect yourself. Okay.
We have a law in Colorado that's been around for a long time. It's been amended a bunch of times called SIDARA, and it's basically construction.
Their own instance, because I didn't really fully, on my own accord.
Doing to it, somehow we still missed the mark. I hope this year we finally got some aspect of the mark.
Okay, we're going to mute the hearing for a second, and we're going to play Chad Clifford's audio of his statement that recently came up, and it's pretty inflammatory. That he stated that's been kind of spread around and shared on Twitter. A lot of it's been cleaned up by him and his campaign, but it's still out there.
Somebody in their own instance, because I didn't really fully, on my own accord, come to terms with being gay until I was at a funeral of a friend. And there was a little boy in the crowd who was clearly the gayest little thing I had ever seen.
Just celibate. I mean, that sounds gay. I just want you to know. You know what?
We could care less if someone's gay, just to be clear, people. That's not the problem. The problem is he states that he realized his sexuality when he realized he was gay when he saw a little boy. That was the gayest thing he'd ever seen. So, yeah, I think somebody should definitely ask him for that, and I don't think you should let children around Chad Clifford. Yep, Forrest Mommy said WTF. Yeah, I'm with you.
Have Alicia unmute the stream on her side.
Alicia, can you, I need Alicia to unmute your screen.
She can't hear.
I just said unmute on her side. That's all you need. Thank you, Carl.
Out in that attorney world, that's
Perfect.
what you would expect to see when you have a problem with your builder, is that since the builder messed it up, we're not going to send the builder back to fix it. We're going to send our own people, or we're going to send a known chimney fixer or, structural engineer. I don't know, whatever they needed to do that. They're going to send those people out and they're going to review that. What ended up happening in this particular case is he got his construction defects claim filed. Everything was going great. Guy got a job, moved out of state, sold the house with disclaimers that, hey, there's an active construction defects claim. The person that bought the house thought that they were buying a house with an active construction defects claim, not realizing that in reality what they were doing is accepting that there was a defect in the home. So that person still has the home today, but chimney and fireplace are not fixed. Ultimately, the insurance company settled.
Chad Clifford,
and the original homeowner on that $70,000 needs to fix deal. And now somebody else is going to cost the new lady that owns the home $70,000 to fix it, if she ever fixes it. That person ended up with a check for around $25,000 ultimately out of that $70,000. So, and he got to keep it. He didn't have to send it to her. Like, really, that's just how our law works. It's a little messed up. What is crazier is if you live in a multifamily, the reason that we don't have a lot of middle income housing here, the reason we have very expensive apartments next to very expensive houses now, and House District 37 and 61 as well, is because mostly builders will not build condos in this area. And that is an insurance issue. Back to that property and casualty where we were talking about your home's insurance goes up.
Someone said, Cliff, do you support chemical castration for pedophiles?
Multifamily homes sue the builder at some point over something. Because that's the way our law works. Our law works is the way to protect yourself from a construction defects claim is to file a claim. Don't let me pretend when I tell you that file a claim means a lawsuit. Construction defects claim is a lawsuit. So 100% of your protection up to this date for the last several years, many years, has been filed a lawsuit against the builder. So it happens in multifamily almost nonstop. We've got an 8-plex unit. This one's in Greenwood Village. We have multifamily, multi-owned units who get together and you form a board. So 3 of those homeowners became the board that took care of landscaping, making sure the sprinklers got blown out for the winter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not a very big deal,
Oh, Carl, thank you for sharing that link on X. For those of you who haven't seen it, please click on that link, share it, and let's make sure that it gets out there. I need to know who this person is. Chad Clifford is definitely a control freak. He likes to control the room. He likes to have the last word. He has responded to every critic that has ever said anything to him on X, and he always has the last word in that situation. He hasn't responded to this one. That shows that it had an effect on him in a negative way.
And in Colorado, when it does that 7 different times in one day, things move. And that's just Colorado. Welcome to Colorado. this happened at this eightplex, and
Can we get to
one of the
something
board
we
members,
want
one
to
of the
talk
three,
about?
contacted the builder and said, "You're going to have to fix this."
Agree,
The builder,
Alicia.
like, that's maintenance.
He's
It's
filibustering.
not something we did. It's not something
He's
we're responsible
filibustering
for. It's
himself.
not structural. You could fix it. They got in a fight in what I would call a good old-fashioned pissing contest. And the builder
about that,
basically
Chad.
said, "Well, if you're going to sue me. But here's the deal. If you sue me, I'm going to make sure it costs you as much money and takes as long as possible. Best of luck."
I think there's people that want to talk about other topics here than just this, though.
I just wish you would address the question I answered.
Yeah.
The question was, the insurance company, the last day, open, when it didn't matter what you put on the side of my house, because from 1980, no longer gets paid, and the state did not say
That they had to replace it with the same material.
he can put anything he wants on it, and he can put 3 different kinds of materials on the side of my house. When in fact, other states say, because you can no longer get that material, you have to do it
For
all
Volcano
over
2025, make protecting
but not
kids great again. I
Colorado.
agree, Hugo.
No,
I agree.
citizens, because you're gonna take it in the bill. Well, how?
That's a very, I've never had that come up. I didn't know. Now, if they have a material that's no longer made,
Jesus
are
Christ.
you asserting that you should be able to use material that they replace it with?
Something equivalent price-wise. I'm not asking for gold plated anything,
Yeah.
just something that would all match, and I wouldn't lose any property value.
And they wouldn't match?
They told me, stick it. And they laughed about it. Chris?
Which district do you live in?
Okay,
Okay, so
well, when I wrote you, I got nothing back. I emailed for office and no response.
Oh, I guess you have to show up to a meeting to get a response.
But you're clearly interested in other issues, and some of them that other people have, especially if we overlook.
I'm going to have Alicia repeat the questions in the room. That's what I'm asking her to do here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room?
Yeah, can we talk about the elephant in the room?
let's talk about the elephant in the room. We can talk about the elephant in the room.
Everybody has their hand up pretty much. The majority of the room.
25003.
Now, I'm going to be kind to you, but we know who you are, and I'm not going to let you disrupt a public meeting.
I think the public wants to talk about
Everyone
it.
else has. If you've got something
I
that
did.
you'd like to say, I'm calling.
So let's talk about SB 5 or Senate Bill 25003. You have stated that the bill is constitutional. You have said,
Okay.
so how is this bill constitutional in your perspective? I'm asking the question. You didn't let me ask the question yet.
Good job, Alicia. Don't back down at the scumbag.
Everyone else just raised their hand and been respectful, and if you're not going to be respectful in a public meeting, that's not how we operate. I give her my voice. Sure, she's welcome to speak.
How do you feel that Senate Bill 25003 is constitutional? Because you've stated that you feel that you cannot find anything unconstitutional about it. The bill is literally prohibiting the exercising of our constitutional and human right of self-defense. It's putting limits and restrictions on
Good job,
asking state
Alicia.
permission for us to be able to purchase and possess certain types of firearms. It's been very obvious that the public has shown up. We've outnumbered basically the opposition and proponents that support SB 25003 10-1 for years. And yet you keep passing these unconstitutional gun laws. You have supported unconstitutional gun laws
Good job, Alicia.
repeatedly, and now you're supporting SB 25003. So please explain to us how you feel that this is a constitutional thing that you are going to support again.
Tomorrow.
And why do you
I do
keep
not.
voting the way you're voting?
Huh?
You say you're
I
for
said I
the-
do not.
Right, you have voted every
Hold on.
time the same direction.
Just like her, please raise your hand. I promise I will address you. Hold on, this is
All right, now it's getting good, people. We changed the topic. Good job, Alicia.
This is 21 this year. I have never left until everybody's questions are done. So I will show you all the respect in the world, but I request that you
Good
respect
freaking
everyone
job, Alicia.
engage in the public dialogue. And don't answer any of your questions.
I am. I'm texting her too.
Or engaging with somebody that wants to be antagonistic.
She's not being antagonistic. She's asking you a damn question, dude.
You're agreed. Let me ask you a question. How many of you think that firearms training is important?
It's not a requirement.
But not the constitutional.
It's not a constitutional issue.
How many
Then
of
it
you
doesn't say you have to have a training class. It says you have to
same thing?
own a firearm regardless.
This is.
Raise your hand.
Do you want me to answer a question or do you want to talk?
Just addressing
I'm glad she's doing this.
The ball.
I'm glad she's.
I'm going to answer your questions. She has made the constitutionality of Senate Bill 20.
Yeah. She got in. She got her voice heard.
Ruling decision doesn't stop the state's responsibility for regulating firearms. The Heller decision has not struck down at any point in time.
It struck down the extreme licensing conditions that New York and New Jersey passed. He's full of shit.
Has to be the text and history of 1791. There was no regulation permits for firearms in 1791.
Does not mention.
There was no assault weapon bans in 1791.
It does not mention.
Text and tradition is the
Tell him.
meaning of the bill, and that's what the justice is talking about.
Why don't you go, Chris?
All right.
You're still not answering the question, sir.
I've been through my whole life and started in 2013. They started with the magazine ban, which was crap. Then they came up with
Hand those flyers out. Good.
gun check, universal background check, which means nothing. It means nothing. There were no background checks in 1791. There were no magazine.
Hey, thank Pin King. Appreciate you, man. $2 super chat. God bless.
I was in the Army.
Round of applause for Pin King.
I swore to the Constitution. The Second Amendment is what it means. It's not a privilege like driving. It's your freaking right. You have a right to bear arms. And it's not for hunting. It's not for target shooting. It's the last resort against that tyrannical government. Especially here in Colorado.
Someone in the chat. You see him. Tell me move me over to the left. Yep. Okay.
Maybe if the teachers had a right to have a gun in the classroom, they could defend against those crazies that come in school.
Here we go. It's getting interesting. He's taking the stage.
Did you raise your hand?
I'm doing it here and I'm a citizen and I vote.
So do I.
Hey, everyone, please. Just because he's disrupting a meeting doesn't mean that you have to.
You asked him to.
You asked him to. You gave him the mic.
Sir, let me talk. They came to talk to me. I'm the person voting on Senate Bill 3 tomorrow. If you want to go vote on it, get elected.
We're going to get you unelected.
And I welcome you against me, sir. I'm not here for that.
I'm on Spaces. X. I talk to people on X and Spaces. We're gonna have to meet Spaces.
I welcome your vote. Let's put the Second Amendment on the screen.
The right of the free people should not be infringed.
He's going to put the Second Amendment on the screen. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what tyrannical governments are.
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. There you
Exhibit
go.
A.
He's stepping to burn time. Let's yeah, you're right. You're right.
Protects the right of the people to keep and bear arms. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Get the deputy stand by her.
So you're going to ask me to leave when this is my question?
I don't know how many times. If you would like to speak, raise your hand and be respectful.
Isn't this my question?
This was your question.
And you haven't answered it yet.
Any how many of you would like me to answer the question?
We'd like to hear you answer the question.
So I'm
You're
gonna
gonna leave.
well, actually, there's many people here that really want to hear about education.
No,
So I'm gonna
no, we
pull
don't.
people that want to hear about education over there, out there, okay? Right?
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for your time. Yeah, no, thanks.
One person left.
But for people for education in Washington State.
I'll stay until they make me leave.
I'm not gonna sit here and have an entire town hall dominated by. Same thing for you. You wanna come up here and speak, get elected.
We're going to get him unelected.
Please answer.
We're gonna go back to this. I am actually gonna get a complaint without interrupting. At least one before we leave here today. Here
I have
is
a
the
lady
entire-
telling me not to interrupt him.
Being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The very first time a single Supreme Court decision in the United States, whether it was the popular decision or whether it was the dissent, ever mentioned an individual right to bear arms. Does anybody know what Supreme Court decision that was? Heller. That's correct. It's the very first time that we ever engaged with an individual right to bear arms. And I want you to know, I believe you have an individual right to bear arms. I grew up.
All right, Hugo. She didn't go in as a reporter, but a pit bull.
My turn. It is my turn.
Things are getting juicy, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Viewers are increasing here, guys. Make sure you share this. Clifford is trying to explain how Senate Bill 003 is in fact constitutional based upon Supreme Court decisions from a long ass time ago. I think Bruin would disagree.
So in 230 years-ish, there had not been a single opinion from the Supreme Court, from any justice in the Supreme Court, that had argued or engaged with your individual life. And I believe you have it. I grew up with firearms. You know, in my 1992 Ford Ranger, the very first thing I bought for it was a rifle rack for the back window.
Here we go. I'm a gun owner. I'm just like you, but I'm trying to take away your rights.
Up and is playing with a new 30-06 that I got for deer hunting in the parking lot.
Yeah, 2AK Armory. It is cutting in and out. We're doing the best we can here, buddy.
We never thought of people going in grocery stores and shooting them up. That was just not part of it. That is not where we are today. But we're going to continue to stay on the Second Amendment for just a few minutes. A well-regulated militia. Anybody that took English takes this entire sentence and puts it together until the Heller decision. They were talking about the militia to protect the interests of the United States of America.
A militia was not an organized unit at the time, and a lot of times they were decentralized and disorganized. They were not actually officially commanded by the government of the United States or the Continental Congress. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
America did not have the Constitution of the United States of America.
It was the Revolutionary War.
We'll go back to that. A tyrannical government.
I was working from 1791 here, and all the way back to
Yes. I'll talk to you about 1791 and 1776.
Thank you for moving closer, Lisa.
I spent 30 hours with a lot of you on Twitter, so I have spent many hours making sure that I was prepared. We can go round and round if you want to. You want to get into the Constitution, I stay.
You know what the militia was originally? It was free males who own property between 17 and 51.
Yes. No.
And nowadays that applies to all citizens are militia. It doesn't.
Do you know what our militia is?
They used to argue, oh, it's the National Guard or the military. That's what they're talking about. And the Supreme Court said, no, militia is.
The militia is the people. Do you know in this state what you have to do in order to be part of the militia?
You don't have to do anything. You're part of the militia.
No, sir. That's not what the state constitution is. Well,
The state constitution does not supersede the United States Constitution.
Hold on.
The Bill of Rights overrides the
You know, my question is why create these laws? What was the motivator for something like this? Even if
I can make up a bunch of stuff.
no, but I guess the biggest.
Yeah, we are doing the best we can with the audio, guys. They would not let us set up equipment in the room. We are doing the best we can with the phone. That's all we were allowed to have. Chad did try to already throw us out, actually now 2 or 3 times. So again, guys, I'll repeat if I can what's being said.
Fixes anything any real thing that's happening. And so what was the motivator behind coming up with these laws about training?
Militia.
You know, and that's the whole thing about the extra training or semi-automatic firearms. You know, you're talking about something that you know, why are you doing this? If you know, I could see if something just happened. You know, I can see the fanaticism behind, you know, after a war.
Let's talk about how many lives guns save.
That prompted the Colorado government to do this.
I don't know that it prompted the Colorado government, it prompted a bill sponsor.
Oh, okay.
Every elected official that you have, it's 5 a session, and they can do with them what they choose, and we will run those through all their normal processes, and we will decide whether or not that the representatives of the people agree. And everyone in this room has equal representation. Every single state representative represents 81-ish thousand people. We have 65 reps, 35 senators, and we divide the population every 10 years to make sure that that is what represents. And I am one vote out of 101 people that will vote on that bill. And I represent House District 37. I also represent my district. My title is representative. But we'll talk about that a little. But what was your second question?
That was really it. What's the motive behind this? And I think
he's asking what the motive behind 003 is, and Chad's refusing to answer the question.
Tom Sullivan has never told me why he sat down and wrote this bill.
Then why are you voting on it?
Responsibility. It's his job as a senator.
Well, let me ask, why would you vote yes for it?
Because I have found no reason not to. The bill. Hold on. Do you want me to not answer his and answer yours?
Hold my hand.
I noted it.
Okay.
Remind me when I come back to you.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to.
Yeah, that's good. I have found no reason not to. This bill specifies a couple of things. It specifies that you may continue to purchase rifles all you want to, as long as you have training.
That's not true.
Is there? The bill says you can purchase anything you want to, anything that's legal today, if you get training. 16. The only restriction that it creates in that bill whatsoever is that if you don't have training,
I have my hand raised.
the magazine that you have attached to certain types of rifles has to be affixed. What's the connection? The number of bullets that you can shoot. Is that the answer?
I have my hand raised.
Okay, I got you.
Section 16, exactly.
I think you guys are going in a mindless direction and not addressing the real issue. For you to say there's no reason why not to vote that bill, that's not a proactive representative state.
Sir, I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth. I appreciate that y'all are here tonight. And there, you can argue with me. I don't even have the numbers. Rocky Mountain Gun Owners dropped 1,700-ish petitions off the other day. Will you pull up the petitions so they can see?
We're talking about the 1,700 petitions from his district that were dropped off. Chad Clifford said he didn't receive any more than 38 emails against this bill. We have the receipts proving otherwise.
So we have to scan them all in. Then somebody has to go in and go manually find these people in our contacts, because we've got most of the emails or addresses or some way to contact these voters. But it will take us probably 3 months to verify how many of these people actually contacted our office. We will contact and speak to every single one of them.
That's not true.
It's just how we work.
That's not true.
The reality of what's up here, though, is I don't know how many of these people are real. Last year, they delivered stuff to my office that didn't have a single person from House District 37. They didn't even deliver people from cities that were in my district. And I didn't get to verify any of them. If you are someone who went online and filled this out and shared this with me.
The gentleman asked why he would vote for this.
Any of you right now pick up the phone, call my public telephone number at the state office number, 303-866-5510. It will ring in my pocket, and if you ever tried it, I answer the phone personally.
Yeah, I say put your name, your email address, your zip code, your address. I got 2 of them today, and they emailed everybody in the state house.
Yeah, probably why.
And my phone number's in there, my email address.
Yeah, if you contacted our office, eventually we're going to get to you.
Eventually.
Not even from the Centennial and you've got contact information, and we can verify that you're somebody from our district, we will count you as someone who is contacted. Wow. Hold on just a second. I just want you to know, and I don't know who Mr. Wong is, but we will eventually find this person and contact them. And we will find out if they contacted our office. But I'm going to talk to you about the number of people. Remember I told you a minute ago I answered my phone? Almost every group in Colorado that has an interest in gun rights right now puts my number on it. In fact, you're here specifically because people said you should see Chad.
Hey Carl, can we get that number that he mentioned earlier and put it in the chat and put it up online or in our description or something? If you're able to find it, you can do it afterwards.
The only reason that you were in this room is because of that young man.
Yeah. He mentioned a personal number that goes to his cell phone.
Rocky Mountain gun owners brought this is not a petition, by the way. Petition has contact information. The most important thing is it's got a signature. And that's, just normal. This is not.
Can we put Clifford under oath?
I just want you to know that. I don't have a problem with this being delivered to my office. I don't have a problem contacting people. But some state employee that's got floppy hair is going to have some interns, hopefully if they show up and come in, to work through this manually until we get through this entire process. So, sir, if you think that's the easiest way to reach your representatives, I'm telling you it's an ineffective way to reach me. You can just call me. You can email my office. We will respond to you. We will never hide from you. I answer my phone every single time.
So I can talk to you, not staff.
Correct. Call my number right now. Please don't. I'll talk to you on the phone.
Couple things. I'm jumping around. Sorry. I think it's well documented by Mr. Sullivan's response with all these gun bills, red flag
He's upset.
Yeah, I know, and he doesn't care what his constituents. Maybe it's my opinion. We passed the red flag laws, didn't stop any crimes. Now we got guns with that line. Now you're doing this.
That's not true that the red flag laws have not stopped crimes.
Okay, then I'm still informed. But my question for you is, from my understanding what I read on this, that this is all to be managed through the Colorado Department of Wildlife, who has yet to set how much it's going to cost for all these classes and all the background.
And they haven't told us how long it will take to get our license.
Guess for it. And then all the money collected by the Department of Wildlife is not subject to TABOR, my understanding.
None of their enterprises.
I know. So I think you guys are intentionally sliding it over to the Department of Wildlife that's not subject to TABOR. You're going to collect millions of dollars, and you're going to it's going to go to the general fund. Who knows where it's going to go? So you're effectively deducing.
You can find out exactly where it goes because our state budget is pretty
This is
transparent.
Nancy Pelosi, in my opinion. We got to pass the bill to see what's in.
Now, we don't quite do it like that.
Well, you are doing it like that.
Just
Back to your question.
But back on the Constitution, what does it mean to you? Shall not be infringed. And I think with a lot of people.
He's asking him why he doesn't understand what shall not be infringed is so hard to understand.
Getting a lot of people see that as what does it mean to you? And I just want, the reason I asked one question before how I asked it, I just want people to understand how it really works and answer it really well. You have one vote and you told us why you would vote for that. And so people have to decide whether they're going to vote for you based on that. But I think that's fair. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, so A Supreme Love said, I've spoken to multiple law enforcement officials. The process will take over a year to be estimated. Yeah, guys, and there's also no deadlines like they have with CHP. In the state of Colorado, they have to get you your CHP within 90 days of application. On this, they put no deadlines, no price caps. They can raise fees to whatever the heck they want. There's no anything. Also, they give the Attorney General the ability to decide what is a gas-operated firearm, what is a hybrid-operated firearm, what are these different types of firearms that would be restricted under this bill that would require that license.
They also just come and back. Sir, raise your hand.
I'm raising it.
No, you're not.
He raised his hand, dude. Clifford doesn't like this confrontation. It's good for him to see this.
Military veterans.
Committee, yes. to vote for it. I have a lot of data that gives me reasons to vote for it. The gentleman that started this bill, his son got killed in the Aurora Theater shootings. You know, happened to that?
And this bill will prevent that.
Hey, so I've got Clifford's cell phone number if anybody's interested in it. That cell phone number is 205-807-5529. Again, Clifford's cell phone number is 205-807-5529. He put that information out publicly. Let's make him famous.
Oh my gosh, so after somebody goes in and shoots 100 people.
Raise your hand.
So
And if you go to Wyoming and you purchase a magazine and bring it back to the state, I promise I will never call you a law-abiding gun.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you taking the opportunity.
Yeah, no issues. I represent this district. Yes, sir.
And I appreciate your statements.
I got you.
But one thing I'd like to say is there's increasing concern to me and people I know about the even a greater reason to have a firearm for firearms now.
Right.
The crime is going up in the state. We've got sanctuary cities that are inviting people to come in that we know at the beginning are going to increase the
Was that?
I would think you as representatives.
Yeah.
would do everything
What did you say? I didn't see it.
to ensure
That's not a cell number, it's a 303 text me off.
I got you. Hold on.
Okay, so Scott's saying that's not a cell phone number, it's a 303. Okay, we'll get the real number.
He's a veteran. I understand. What's that got to do with it? Ray Trader and trainees.
I'm going to call the number right now as someone requested in the chat.
I appreciate you. I had enough to her outburst. Happens again. Same thing with her. I'm going to ask you. I am respectful to you. Stop disrespecting me.
Where is me?
that's like.
I do want you to know that I would support amendments to this bill that would adopt military training, or would adopt law enforcement training, or would give you some additional.
I'm calling Clifford right now on his cell.
Use the weapon to prove it. I would have no issue with that.
Let's see what happens.
But y'all are here to see me. I didn't write the bill. I don't sit down at the table with amendments. I can limit it.
Oh, Clifford's from Alabama.
I mean, I can try tomorrow on second readings. I'm sure that we will be negotiating the entire day. And I'm certain that probably additional amendments will come to that bill, and I will have meaningful dialogue with people that are running it in the House. But it's not my bill.
Doesn't matter. It's your job to represent your constituents.
Yeah. I know that your hand is up. He's going to come before you, and then I'll go get
Giving the number.
Can we turn the audio up in the room and turn mine down?
He's ignoring a lot of people in here.
He's ignoring a lot of people, yeah.
He's diddling that boy.
Oh, is aid? Yeah, I bet he is.
We're not even debating magazine limits. Before anybody hounds me about that, none of your Republican
Pin
companies.
King. We don't know who you are, man. I mean, if you want to pass that information on, we might just make that public.
Later on.
By the way, Alicia has been raising her hand the entire time here.
And I also don't engage with people that tell me that something is a slippery slope. I have no idea what she is going to do when she gets elected. She can run whatever bill she wants, and she can work it through the system just like everybody else. But there's a few things that I take issue with this bill. Number one, an enormous amount of misinformation in order to get you spun up, and probably to even get you here. And number two, that I am somehow the face of it. I think that's cute. Number three, the whole issue behind the bill itself. You know, say what you want about the sponsors of this legislation. I have never known Tom Sullivan to turn a meeting down with anyone that was respectful.
Tom Sullivan himself is not respectful.
I have my hand raised, and of course, I'm disrespectful.
There you go. Show that flyer.
A lot of us in here are ex-military, former U.S.
Well, guys, good content tonight.
Yeah.
From Chad Clifford. Thank you, Chad. Becoming Gun Salesman of the Year along with Tom Sullivan. We'd like to thank you for your support here at Spartan Defense and, supporting our business. I think we lost audio.
We did.
Yeah. Let me let her know.
Nope.
Yes.
There it is.
Real data are good data. By the way, statisticians, we know what they do.
You know, I don't do that. I'm going to tell you a little secret about my office. We got 3 master students from college this year, and they have done all their research in our office. I have binders, 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 and it's got every gun event that has happened in the state.
He was asking if he actually looks at real stats.
So not himself.
Per data. And I didn't take Tom Sullivan's data either. I didn't take every town's data either.
Then you also realize that imposing the training standard, the only
Penn King mentioned that Chad Clifford's home address is actually public info. Not going to post it, though. Good idea, man. We're not going to dox anybody about that. The only reason we put that number out there is because he mentioned his number earlier.
Is that the way you handle stuff here? Is that the way you handle bullies?
You can call out his negative behavior.
I am. I don't know what the hell's going. Do you normally have to play calls?
One of the guys that was asking.
Who's got a problem?
The dude is wearing a shirt that says, "I don't need a gun."
Hey, it's okay. Everybody, just get back to it. And if you want one, I appreciate that you're here and I'm willing to talk to you.
What did the shirt say?
Oh, no, not Bill.
I hope he was a House District 37 rep. Did you get his name? Yeah, hopefully it's on. All right, hold on. He's not finished asking his first question. You agree with him. You're adding to many people were military, many people were special forces, many people. I'm assuming where you're going is you're trained to use a firearm.
What we hear is that if you look at all the firearm owners out here and the crimes, 99.9% of their firearm owners.
No, someone got kicked out that said they had a shirt on that says, "I don't need a gun to beat you up."
You know, that is probably 0.001% of the population out there who has a firearm is going to go off. They'll look for example, gun-free zones. Okay. Now, all of our mass shooting events happen in gun-free zones. That's a fact. Now,
That's not a fact.
it is. Now, the other thing, sir,
Do you have that data?
oh yeah,
I welcome you to come to my office. I can't because I'm going to be in debate on it.
I would
Do have the data.
Yeah.
And anybody that would like to come visit with me in my office and look at these events and look at the data that we have, I'm telling you, not all of them have happened in gun-free zones.
Okay.
I don't know where you got that information, but whoever told you.
It's
that,
actually a large amount of them, guys. It's almost every single mass shooting that has occurred has happened in a gun-free zone, whether it's been a school or a university, or in a case of Tom Sullivan's son, a theater which banned carry lawfully with a license.
That's he's very good. He's filed matters, everything. PhD, economist, statistician. He didn't even get involved in gun issues until by accident. Now,
just like me. I had no idea.
my comment here though is that by making a law that says you have to be trained, that itself is not going to stop any of the shootings, the mass shootings.
I'm going to tell you a little thing about me. I grew up in policing.
Hey guys, all of you that can, let's just start blowing his phone up on that 205-807-5529. Let's just keep on calling it. You can call star 67 and block that number if you don't want him to have your number. And have fun with that. Let's keep that phone ringing in his pocket while he's trying to think about what to say.
My guard doesn't go down, but I get more comfortable. Why do you think that is?
The training they're required to have.
And that they've gone and gotten the background check. And that they are probably, what do I almost always know about somebody? So
guys, I'm going to take a, well,
I got you.
a little bit here.
I don't understand what you're saying about their.
I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
What do I know about someone who is a concealed weapons carrier? Got you too.
That they had to apply more to the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
In Jefferson County, where I live. They honor certain types of training. That's
correct.
That's a concealed carry.
That's right.
Colorado is a open carry state also. You have to have training. That
Correct.
No, you're correct.
City and Denver City and County, the only place about that. Boulder. But Boulder, yeah, I don't even supposed to drive through there.
But going back to what I asked is why do we think that requiring training for a firearm, someone purchasing a firearm, is going to make it so that person doesn't get mentioned?
Guys, I'll be right back.
He's asking why he feels the training is necessary because criminals are not going to get training or
Exactly.
go a background check.
Yeah, Alicia's right. Exactly. Why does he feel this training is necessary? Let's hear what he has to say. I'm gonna step away for a few minutes. We're gonna make the screen larger so that you guys can see it, and Alicia's gonna keep going for us live here. Okay, guys, I'll be back here in a few minutes.
Mitch checked everything. If you have a record, it won't show up. So if you're telling you're not working. So point back, what is the training for that person who is looking to purchase a firearm? Want to fit? What mass shooting would they have stopped?
Well, there's an argument that it would have reduced the carnage in quite a few. How many?
The training?
Yeah. Not because most people wouldn't have done it. You answered your first question. If we restrict somebody, yeah,
they would train them not how to do it.
No, sir. They wouldn't have the weapon available to them. They wouldn't have. They wouldn't. How many of you know that the Aurora Theater shooter went to the gun store the day before, bought all the shit he did to shoot the theater up?
He bought it all online. He couldn't do it. I work with City where I know a lot of police officers that responded. He said the reason that he didn't kill more people is because he bought crap Chinese weaponry and all jammed up on him.
The Chinese mags.
Because he had a barrel mag and it jammed up.
Are you talking about the Aurora Theater shooting?
Yeah.
Aurora Theater shooting. I worked with City for 20 years.
Yeah, you have a Chinese clone of the beta mag and
I had officers that were at the scene, later, of course, talking about it, because that changed the Aurora Police Department. That made them know they're in a big city now. The whole culture of the Aurora Police Department changed that. According to people I know that work there. But they told me he would have killed a lot more people, but he bought crappy Chinese and magazines.
Yeah. Hold on. I don't remember who was next.
Yeah, I've been keeping track.
Hold on. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, and the blue jacket.
You got mine.
Blue jacket number 2.
Oh, sorry, green jacket right here, and then number 2.
Okay.
Green jacket.
So this is under interesting. And so this is actually. It sounds like to me like the major issues, the accessibility of some of these, what people, call assault weapons, the AR-15, stuff like that, increasing violence. But in reality, other states that have passed laws similar to this or even more strict to this have not seen a reduction in violent crime like that. And what this gentleman was kind of alluding to as well is that typically people that are intent on death and destruction, they're going to find means to do so regardless of following the law. So when earlier I had a little sniff about going to Wyoming and getting that, that would not be a law-abiding citizen. Somebody intent on murder or mass murder is never a law-abiding citizen because murder is the worst violation in the land, right? That's the worst thing that you can do to your fellow citizen. So it's seeing things like this actually hurt our ability to defend ourselves against people like that, people that are willing to violate all laws, the most strict law as far as do not murder, whether you're a good person or not, that's one thing that you do not Now we're, you know, I'm pro training as well. I'm former military. I am a former firearms instructor. I agree that people should get trained. I just don't think that's a constitutional requirement to protect ourselves against these people intent on destruction. And we've seen that in states like California, and we've seen box truck attacks and, you know, killed hundreds of people. You know, if there's a means.
I got it. Nobody ran a bill on box trucks.
Right, but that's not the intent of my message either, my statement. It's like people.
I'm going to answer his question before we get it, but he is capturing that you raised your hand. So look at him when you raise your hand.
But I got you, and I got you,
Yeah, so,
and I got you.
the intent of my statement is that it's all well and good in theory, but it's not actually going to limit people that are intent on destruction from having access to that. A significant majority of firearms crimes are committed with stolen guns or, like I know Colorado passed a bill, safe storage and all that stuff. Don't go out those statistics now. But there's been with stolen guns or guns that, you know, they got other places. It's again, if these people are intent on murder, they're not going to follow this law. The law-abiding citizens, the people that want to protect other people from those kind of people, that's the people that this.
I got it. This is a specific bill for specific types of firearms or specific reasons. And he's having fun. They are just having fun with the rest. The very limited scope, very specific types of firearms that they're interested in, very specific types of crimes that they have focused on where they think that they can make a reduction. And they have been able to show data that shows us that it should. Hold on. Do you want me to answer your questions? I mean, I'll give you all the follow-up.
I just have another follow-up after this. So
yeah, sure. The next thing that's important to me about that is I don't know, as a state lawmaker who does feel that it's my constitutional responsibility in this state, under the state constitution, to regulate anything. We have been regulating firearms in this state since the state became state. In fact, when I was about to pull up the militia conversation from the Constitution of the state of Colorado, in order to become a state, they had to adopt certain language in the state constitution before they could be accepted into the United States of America. And that was specifically a huge portion of the militia conversation. Do you want me to? Okay. And when we start to look at, since that day, in this state, firearms have been regulated. If you want to go back and like talk about Bruin, I can find tons of times where the sheriff of the town used to make you check your weapons to come to town. When we had labor disputes, I can find tons of Western territories where you just did not necessarily have the right to walk around with your own gun. They just didn't let you. Know why? Because people got killed. I'll stop answering your question. But you
I'm sorry. No, I'm not trying to interrupt. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to talk. So, you mentioned Bruin. The thing with Bruin is there is no historical precedent, which is kind of the general theme of Bruin is that there has to be historical context for.
I got a ton of lawyers
regulating types of firearms.
Let me tell you something about something called the Office of Legislative Legal Services. The Office of Legislative Legal Services are the lawyers that work for the legislature. They are completely nonpartisan. They are the same lawyers that write the bills for the Republicans that write the bills for the Democrats. It is not uncommon for me to talk to somebody about some part of the law that they wrote 30 years ago. They've been there that long. There are a ton of them. Those lawyers tell me when I ask that we have been regulating firearms in this state since it became a state.
Yes, I do understand. And
so at no point in time in this state's history has it not been born on the state to regulate firearms in the state.
Right, but we've seen at the federal level, and I understand it's a state thing, but Constitution.
No work for them.
The federal Constitution.
That's right. And I have read every single word of every single Supreme Court decision for the last 230 34 years on the Second Amendment, including the dissents. And I do not have anything there that tells me as a state lawmaker that I am not responsible for regulating. Bruin is the closest thing that sets a standard from which I have to view it. But in that Bruin standard, those attorneys tell me this is appropriate regulation. And within the rights of the legislature to determine. And I know that everybody's like, they're gonna have a court challenge. They haven't really won any of those lately. We've got in Colorado. Hey, our 12-year, 15-round ban that everybody said was going away, and I guess we do still technically have something pending that could go federal at some point in time. But I got to tell you, you guys are really excited about the Supreme Court, but almost every Supreme Court decision that's been coming out, and the current court has been putting more power in the state's hands. Now, they might not do that in the Second Amendment. Let me tell you how much easier my job would be if the United States Supreme Court would tell us what to do. But in the absence of that, I have to deal with law the way that it is today, and the Constitution the way that it is today, and the case law the way that it is today, and I have to deal with, there's not Lincoln, what is the Illinois decision is not even actionable for us. It's not even in our district. It's unenforceable. I cannot even, as a matter of law, use it to apply to this yet. That's the law. I don't get to just make shit up. I have to deal with the law the way that it exists today. And I have been careful threading this through. I have engaged people. I have talked, but I have actually done the work to read it all. And if you find something in those decisions, any of them that you think gives me damning evidence, I have told everybody in every hearing so far that we've had, there are some conversations and some dialogues that could get me to know. There are. But so far, we keep throwing spaghetti against the wall, pretending that we are constitutional experts, and most of the people that pretend they're constitutional experts can't show me in the Constitution and can't follow it all the way around. Hey, one of my favorite conversations on Twitter, if those of y'all that have been seeing, I will talk to you on Twitter. I will talk to you anywhere you want to talk to me. You want to talk to me in King Supers? You want to come hang out at the Capitol? If you've ever had a 2A person that walked up to me and said, I want to talk, they've got to come in my office and talk. I do not decline that conversation. I don't have a problem engaging. You get him, Chris? You got a few people ahead of you.
And I did get somebody saying that they have to leave soon. That's fifth in the line. So let's try to balance.
We can negotiate that. Hold on just a second. I am happy to do the work. I'm still surprised that I'm like the face of the 2A movement in the state of Colorado. I mean, definitely still him. It's all because he moved papers off of his desk on a busy day. I knew nothing about it. They didn't even tell me. He looked at it and said, these things are irrelevant to us. And oh, and the videos, hidden camera. No fucking hidden camera. You think that camera's hidden? You think I don't know I'm being watched? Do you know that I'm watched just about 3 meals a day? Almost every meal I eat is on a dais in front of me. Almost every conversation that I have on these topics is in a public, open meeting where they are being recorded, and I am on record. And if I ask a question, you can go back and get the transcripts of it, or I do it out in the public, in Twitter and any other place. You can come for me if you want to, but you're not going to find somebody that's not engaging with their district. And I want you to understand that overwhelmingly, and whether you believe me or not, overwhelmingly, people in House District 37, people that live in my district have asked me to support this bill. Now, I don't know if you know how close we are to Denver, but the Denver legislators aren't having control of it all. They are not filling a room tonight to a advocates. It is just not something they are doing. They could run their entire legislative campaign on full gun control and win. We've had people do it. I've never run a gun bill. I'm a firearms armorer. I know every spring, pin, and detent in an AR-15. I became a NRA certified law enforcement firearms instructor when I was 22 years old. Do you know what we didn't train people back then, even in the law enforcement academy? Rifles.
Rifles were new post, the guy shootout in Miami and also.
That's right. We had shotguns and handguns, and I still was required to train you in revolver, even if you were never going to use one. That was 2002-ish. We didn't do it. You didn't get a rifle if you get a SWAT team. It never, ever, ever. We did not have something called a patrol rifle. It is unbelievable to me that this man has to have a rifle in his car and has to wear 35 pounds of armor to go to work. Unbelievable to me that that's what he has to do. Unbelievable to me that what he might have to go face in the citizenry from people that are concerned about their tyrannical government, that who you're thinking about shooting is him. Hold on. That's
a very good
government. It's in my office the other day that pointed, you can see Capitol from my office really well. It's just right across the street. It's beautifully framed in my window. And he pointed to the Capitol and he says, now that you guys are becoming a tyrannical government, I should be able to bring my weapons down here. If you think, oh, no, that happened.
Okay, that happened.
What did I say to him?
You said, if you do that, I will shoot you.
Somebody's going to put you in prison or I will shoot you.
We only have about 30 minutes. Can we get the other questions?
Yeah. All right, you other
Sir,
questions?
you're next in line.
Okay, first of all, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. About 30 minutes ago, you stated, well, first, how do amendments get added to the bill? Because, real quick, because you were saying that you can add amendments.
You can add amendments. I can go run amendments. They will not pass if they're not friendly.
Well, so my question is, about 30 minutes ago, you said you would support an amendment making military people exempt from office training.
Yes, and law enforcement officers. When he retires, he's going to have to go in the bill right now. He'll have to go do CPW training.
You said you would support that amendment.
Absolutely.
So can you commit tomorrow to go and run the amendment? See if you can get it added to the bill?
I've already been in conversations for trying to get that type of amendment. I don't know what that's going to
Sir, my question is, can you commit to us, since you said you support it, to tomorrow go submit it in committee to try and get it?
Well, we're not in a, well, I guess we are the committee of the whole. Yeah, I'll commit to that. I got no issues committing to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, if I just go blindly run that amendment, it's going to fail on its face, then it'll become a several questions. So I would prefer you let me be a politician about it and actually try to get it in the bill.
Well, no, but I'm asking, will you, whatever your process is,
Yes.
I'm gonna make you're not.
I hope that they get some of those things, types of things added. There
But
are
you
some
will
things
support
that
that.
I never wrote.
But you will support that.
Yeah. I want you to know I have been training in AR-15s for a long damn time, and I still would have to go take CPW training when we're done.
That we don't know how much it costs.
I don't know how much it costs either, but I don't think it's gonna be ridiculously expensive. I don't know. CPW is not very well known for having some high often course. She'll probably be teaching it. Who was the next question?
Right here, actually. Sorry, I'm keeping track, so I just want to keep us on.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Tracy.
Right here.
Okay, I'd still want to know, well, if you feel that, well, there's so many things I could say, but you know what? I think that woman right there, I want to yield my time. She has been waiting very, very patiently.
So, the force and have a concealed carry, don't carry, actually. And I have a math question.
Sure.
$1.2 billion.
$1.2 billion in the hole, she said, in our budget.
What are you going to have to cut in order to pay for this? Is it going to be education? Is it
She wants to know what people are gonna, or what things are gonna be cut if they pass this gun bill, because Colorado is in debt.
From how I understand what they are doing currently with Colorado Parks and Wildlife is they have what's called a cash fund. There is a number of things that feed in that, including $45 million a year of lottery proceeds. And they are going to loan the first year, set up the training, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that will then be put back in that fund from the fees that they collect. That's the way that I understand it. Now, I'm not on the appropriations committee. I am not on the finance committee. I have never once had to scrutinize the funding formulas in that bill, nor would I have the judiciary, because I assert that probably changed since the last time I've seen the bill. Tomorrow, they will explain it to us.
Well, the idea behind hunters and all of us taxpayers paying for more layers of this stuff to take more rights away.
Pretty sure the users that want to purchase the rifles will pay for it. That's what a fee is.
Whoever pays for it, the taxpayer, pays for bureaucracy, chips away at more of our rights. And then when all of these people argue about the Constitution and all those rights, we're also paying for the lawyers who want to take this clear to the Supreme Court. So my concept is, from a math point of view, this is stupid. This has too many layers, too many things that hurt us. Hunters are paying for restrictions on their own stuff, and we're ending up just blowing out the budget some more. This will hurt somebody who needs something somewhere else that is valuable. We don't do the bad stuff, the criminals do. They don't pay any attention to your laws. I don't want to be Illinois, New York, California. It has 10,000 layers of everything about guns, and they can't fund their own budgets. They don't balance, and crime is high. All of this stuff does nothing. And if you can tell me that that officer is going to be at my house in the proper amount of time it's broken into, I know he can't, because he'll be in somebody else's house or a car accident or helping somebody get medical. So you can't even tell me one thing in this bill makes it valuable to the person who has to protect themselves. I'm sorry you lost your son, but the bottom line is, it will stop that shooter. Not one thing in your bill, because even if he had all the training and crazy, so that guy would have done this bad deed, no matter what. And they have them now who can't even get to jail or a trial because they are crazy. So you're not helping anybody, and I wish you would tell that to your other 150.
I'm good? Okay. Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Oh. We'll get video going here in a second on the screen. I know we're talking about the financials right now. I just want to be clear. Due to the federal excise tax and the Pittman-Robertson Act, $27 million a year comes into Colorado's parks and wildlife from the federal government from the excise tax on the manufacture of firearms. That excise tax is actually at jeopardy to the state of Colorado. Colorado could lose those funds because CPW cannot afford to float this bill and float the enforcement of this new law. That money could be removed, putting CPW and our conservation efforts here in Colorado in jeopardy.
So thank you, I guess. But please tell them, it makes no sense to any of us.
I got it. I will gladly tell people in a town hall last night, this is what I was told. And then we will listen to the next 4 hours and people will tell you why you are right. And I'll listen to 7 more hours of somebody telling me why you're not right. And we'll do that all day. The only bill we're going to hear in the House of Representatives tomorrow is the
chat.
You know, that does bother me.
Chad was? Good.
It does bothers me that we spend an enormous amount of time.
The world who this person is.
But it really is a lot of time.
I gotcha.
Okay.
The next question's right here, and I got you, and I got you. Okay. Next question.
One thing I was going to ask about is that you want accountability from us.
I have asked you for nothing.
No, but you want accountability in this bill from private taxpayers, people that are illegal or breaking the law. Okay? I caveat off the young lady right here, the map. You're telling me you're going to sign off on this, and you yourself have not even looked into where the money's coming from and where it's going, and how it's gonna get funded.
Let me tell you a little bit about
That's shocking. If you're gonna jump on the bandwagon to say that you're gonna sign off on this bill, yet you don't have any idea where the money is.
Pause. Has anyone, I'm not saying that I'm not going to, I make no promise to anyone. Does anyone hear me say I'm gonna sign off on anything?
You said you're leaning
I am
towards
going to
it.
listen to a hearing, and I am going to vote, and that's how that works.
Yeah, you said you're gonna lean
He's already made up his
towards
mind,
voting for it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you said here.
Yeah.
Because that's why everybody's here.
Yeah.
So that's why we're having this conversation. And if you're gonna sign off on it without looking at the appropriations, the long term, oh, we're gonna pass the bill and we'll read it later, or we'll worry about funding later,
Sir,
that's.
I want to answer your question. The legislative process is not obscure. The bill is introduced. The bill goes to a committee of reference where it's looked at for policy. They could kill it in that particular place over financial reasons, but it's very uncommon. In this particular case, this bill then went to finance. Very often at every single stop, changes make on the bill. This is all happening in the Senate. And then after it goes there, then it goes to appropriations, and then it goes to their second reading, so their entire body read it, and then it went to third readings, and they debated it every one. And every one of those turns was an opportunity for things to change the bill. That's how that works. And then it comes to the House of Representatives from the Senate, and we do the same thing. That bill looked so different from the very first time that I read it to the first time that I actually had to sit in the committee and make any determination about how to vote, that I could spend my entire life on that one bill and just track the changes. And it's not my bill.
Two parties bill.
It's not my bill.
It's your party,
Sir. It's not my bill. I am on 23 pieces of legislation of my own. Most of the bills I run are in the public safety space. Or disability, or housing for House District 37. I actually have a full job to do every single day in the Capitol, and this bill is one of them.
It's the most important.
I look at it when it's appropriate for me to look at it. Normally, when I'm going to look at a bill that's going to be in a committee tomorrow, it's the night before. Or sometimes I spend my entire Sunday reading what I'm going to hear in committee that week. It takes an enormous amount of time to read all of that legislation. I don't track all the changes in the bill. It's not mine. I let people that are working that legislation do it. Tomorrow will be the first time in this legislator's responsibility where I was authentically engaged with financing. I didn't worry about that in judiciary. That wasn't even what I was looking at. I knew that it had to go through finance and appropriations. That bill could have died in any of those committees for any reason, and those committees could have changed it for any reason. And I don't know, I understand that y'all want this bill to be my life. It is not what I'm at work on. I voted on it one time in a committee based on the policy. I will vote on it for the first time tomorrow by a voice vote after hearing debate on it the entire day. And I am just praying I get some other work done while that's happening. And then we'll come back and have another entire day of a 120-day legislative session on this one bill. I get it. I'm going to spend an inordinate amount of time on something, but it is not at all what I'm at work on.
District 37, Red Tops. District 37.
Am I upset that the bill came? Not particularly, only because of a lot of time and only because I'm not having to have a conversation like this with you. I would much rather
out east towards
be talking
Kansas,
about why we're
gerrymandering at its finest.
$20 billion in the hole and what that means, and talk to the math teacher about Tabor.
Almost broke 100 live here, guys. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you something fun just for her too. I don't know that I'm gonna run again. I do not give two shits.
We're gonna keep
if
that.
Somebody wants to recall me.
My name's Alicia.
I didn't know that. Good to meet you.
Use your name.
I do not give two shits if somebody wants to run against me. I didn't exactly think I was gonna run for this office. I ran because I got asked twice.
He ran.
And
He
I
didn't
really
run.
think, like,
He didn't run, people.
I am really good at this job, and I am very in communication with my constituents, and I take care of everything that everybody comes to my office for. You have an issue with something with the state government, I am a person you should talk to.
Very scared of
And
Alicia?
I get
Yeah,
the
he won't
most
even use her
random
name.
things, and it's got nothing to do with your firearms legislation. Now, do I have to vote on it? Yes. Should it be the number one thing you know about me? I didn't do that. I think who does that is people that make a lot of money stirring people up.
Guys, you need to make sure you say Alicia's name right. She will correct you. And she
Well,
won't be
We
scared
have
of that.
19 in a line. So.
Okay, well,
No,
let's get another
at
question.
9, we just have one door we have to exit from, and they'll help us with that, right?
Excellent.
Perfect.
Who's next?
Next is this man right
Library will be closing in 15 minutes. Please print your items down as the computers will turn off.
Just 1 second.
He doesn't give a shit if someone runs against him, people. Let's run somebody against him.
Por favor, imprima sus documentos ahora, ya que las computadoras se apagarán en 15 minutos.
He did not run. He was appointed. He did run unopposed in the last election, but he was originally appointed. His opponent dropped out for family reasons.
If it comes back in Mandarin, we're just going to take a break. Okay.
That's what your party voted for, Clifford.
Raise it, I don't know when. Here, one home, and that is for the love of children.
Okay.
I love my children, my neighbors' children, everybody's children. And for me, there is nothing in this world more precious than that. No gun, no nothing. And what I'm here for is to say that I would like to see something that is feasible for all of us, or to keep our kids safe, whether we have to get rid of some of the strict rules and regulations on whatever.
Yes, Sage, we'll have definitely a lot of good bits to use from this.
I worked in the school system, opened up Eagle Press in 1990, and I worked in discipline. And in discipline, you see a lot of kids. You'd be surprised. You see kids coming to school with guns. They come to school with knives. They come to school with pets, snakes, everything.
That was probably him.
They come to school driving their parents' cars and they can't drive. Or you see a head sticking up this low over the dashboard. Well, you know that child should not have a car. But this is what I've seen. I only worked there. I left after 5 years because kids would do silly things. And then sometimes we had parents that would get on us for, like, we were supposed to be taking care of them when they got to school, but they came to school with that. But my
100%
thing,
on if you love someone, protect them.
I come in one day with a knife that was not good. And when they come in and
the funding they're going to spend on this bill would have been better placed to make schools hard targets. Hell, the state I was from, I used to train school marshals in the state of Texas to carry in schools to be able to protect kids from school shootings, from mass murderers that are intent on causing harm, whether it be with a gun, a knife, or any other weapon.
That were housed in the dean's office. But my point is, I went through 5 years of being afraid almost sometimes when kids would come in there like that. They didn't know what they had. Unfortunately, we don't have screens in the schools and stuff that they can catch some guns or knives or whatever. But it is a terrible thing, and it's frightful. And this is, I mean, and I remember when they came up, this is after I quit 1 year at spring break, and you know why? I had a student that was going to graduate, and she came in as a freshman. One of these kids that stayed in the dean's office, cutting class, and somehow between the time that she went to school and we nurtured her, and she was ready to graduate in 4 years. Well, actually, it was 6 years because we started Eagle Press in also junior high school.
Oh, dear Lord.
But I'm
say that by that time, that child had turned around and she was excited about going to college. But I talked to her at spring break, she left, and guess what? She didn't come back because she got killed in the Chuck E. Cheese shoot. I thought I would die. It was the worst thing. It wasn't my kid, but it was a kid that be a nurse. And when graduation time came, we sat there, her mom went up to receive her diploma. And I tell you, I cried buckets. My deal is, whatever we do, there's no gun, no nothing that's purchasing. Even if I did lose my life, you know, it may be for a good cause because it may have saved somebody else. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I've listened to everybody talk about this. And you know, I've been in narrow situations myself. Megan Evers, when I was in college, I'm a graduate of Jackson State University. It was a riot on campus that night after Megan Evers was killed. And the policemen tear gassed the dorms at the college. I ran out in the dark. I was in college, staying in the dorms, but my parents lived about 6 streets over. I ran out in the dark, late at night, scared to death.
For a second.
There were policemen firing on the university, and I was just paranoid. This day, when I go back to my college, for the year that I graduated, they honored those 2 students got killed that night from flying bullets. And they honor those 2 students. But what I'm saying to you, whatever we do, you can think about your town, my town, you know, it's just horrible. We were at Park Matters Mall one night. I went into Macy's. He sat on a bench. Pretty soon, everybody come running through the Macy's store. The clerks all ran from behind the counters. I didn't know what was going on. People were running from all the stores in the mall and Macy's. There was a guy sitting out there that had a concealed weapon. And he was fooling around with the weapon. And he shot himself in the groin or somewhere. But it scared everybody. They said it was a shooter in the mall. And all I could think about was that my husband was out there in that mall. We started running in the parking lot. It was freezing cold. But we dropped our coats, everything, scared to death. I've been in some narrow situations. Thank God I'm here today. But I don't care about a gun. But what I do care about is my kids. So for God's sake, when you're thinking about it, let's figure out something instead of thinking about just guns that we can do to keep people safe.
Thank you. I want you to know, even confronting firearms bills is not something that I ever thought I would do. I ran this job. I just didn't think about it. Just never in the list of things that I was going to work on. And I had to stop and really get myself in a mindset. I've always been in law enforcement. So government gives me guns. I am not going to be subject to this law. I get to have more than 15 rounds. You know, when I lived in Atlanta and I wasn't a police officer, I didn't have that. That might be weird to people. I didn't think I needed it. Didn't seem appropriate in a condo building. I just didn't have one. I have different views about firearms. I grew up with them. I own a lot that are still with my family. You know, guns have just always been something very different for me. I always had access to them. I mean, even as a small child, I could just go get a gun.
He's always had access, but he doesn't want us having that access.
Yes, I've got, and I'll call her my niece, but my house, there's a little girl who has grown up. She is 16 years old now. Her first year of high school, ninth grade is I'm crazy like that. I have the map of her school on the counter when she comes home. How many of you have had teenagers? They're not nice. And I expected her response about that map to be horrible to me. Like, why do you have that? She sat down, pencil, and wrote down everywhere she was going to be every day of the week on that map. And I still get upset about it. We did duck and cover drills.
Good evening. The library will be closing in 5 minutes. We ask that you start gathering your belongings and make your way to the exit at this time. Please ask a staff member if you need any assistance. Thank you.
I know there's still some questions, people have questions. They're gonna arm the stores so we can't exit that way. When you go out the door here, you'll take a beat off the doors to exit. But we have a hard stop.
Пожалуйста, заберите ваши вещи и проходите на выход сейчас. Если вам нужна помощь сотрудника, обратитесь. Благодарю за понимание.
Not exit there. Please don't exit here. And you have a little extra time to answer any questions. Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I have weird views about all this stuff, and I am still learning. But I am learning. The other thing that I promise to always be with all of you is kind and respectful. And there are some people that are just nasty. You know why he doesn't answer my phone? Just last week, Karina Doherty, never mind, I should not have said that. One of the senior needs that has worked in the Capitol for a long time left early because she couldn't even handle the voicemails that people leave. You wouldn't believe the shit people say to me or about me or make up or whatever. And this job shouldn't come with that. I just want you to know, in my opinion, I think it's horribly nasty. And I as far as I know, other than I did with the young lobbyists from the Rocky Mountain gun owners, who we were in a friendly dialogue, I flipped his boss off when I walked out the other day. And I still think it's funny. And I went back and spoke with him very kindly. He's always been extraordinarily respectful. And if you ask him and he tells you the truth, he can tell you I've always been respectful of him. And I listened to his answers. Hell, on another bill the other day, he gave us a good idea, and I went and fought for the amendment on it. And there are lobbyists in the Capitol. You want to go next? There are oh, he's next. Yeah. There are a lot. Hold on, we got people in order. Hold on, I'm not gonna.
I got. Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you,
two here.
I'm not gonna be that kind of person with people. And I want you to know that. And I appreciate those of you that have come here and have been very respectful. And I also want you to know that my family totally dislikes those of you that are not. All right.
Nobody cares.
So I think, yeah, I appreciate you. It was just a tough crowd. Probably up to say, probably like, I want to be respectful. You know who Harry Tubman is?
Yes.
Rosa Parks?
Yes.
I'm here because legacy that they left us. That's gun issues. And my fear tomorrow, when we go sit in front of that committee, is that you forget about those people. There's a story, and Washington Post, you can look it up, 2015, about Rosa Parks.
The store closed about 2 hours ago, folks, but I am here with you. Sorry I had to step away for a little bit. Got eventually got after store. Unfortunately, we, for those of you who don't know, we lost a very valuable and very loved employee last week here at Spartan. Passed away from a heart attack. God bless him. God rest his soul. Please keep him and his family in your prayers. He will be missed.
Someone breaks into my home, I had no idea how. And after that 15 round, those 15 rounds go, if there's more than one person,
has a bigger magazine that doesn't worry about gun laws. What am I gonna do? So my fear, and I should have said this before, I retired from the military, and this is the place I wanted to live. And I didn't think about, man, I'm gonna have to fight for my rights. Is this gonna be a version of Jim Crow and Black Code laws? Like the training that you talked about, I took, I have concealed carry, I don't have it in here, concealed carry, and now I'm gonna have to take additional training. As a black man, I've done everything right. You know, the Safeway shooting, I almost was there because I go to Boulder.
Yeah, let's be honest, if they really did care about safety, they would have made the CCW license the...
Thank you for visiting us today. The library is now closed. Gracias por visitarnos hoy. La biblioteca está ahora cerrada.
Благодарим вас за визит в нашу библиотеку. Библиотека на данный момент закрыта.
Going back to that grocery.
That's Ian Howard. He's a really good dude. Personally, he's been very involved in this TA fight, and he takes this from a civil rights perspective.
You walk in now, there's 2, 3 bodyguard guys with the guns. They don't have a fixed magazine. People that are here, the gentlemen that are here doing security, they don't have fixed magazines. Because they don't have a fixed magazine. They don't know what they're going to face. When I go home tonight, the guns that I have, if it was a fixed magazine, this law passes, then someone breaks in my house, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to be very careful what I shoot. Once that's done, I don't know how many people are coming into my house. I'm still a good guy. So that extra, what is it, 12-hour training that we have right now?
It's actually 16 hours of training. You have to have an additional 4-hour training before the 12 hours.
A good person. There's nothing. I'm already a good person. So I asked not to vote in favor of this bill. Because there are many black gun owners that are around here. There's some of my friends. They couldn't be here because they have to work. I'm retired Army. I mean, I'm fortunate that I can be here. Please vote no on this bill.
That's your communication. Your House District 37 resident?
Have a president.
Have a call.
Next is empty. Okay. Next is the far corner here with the hat.
Thank you for joining as a member, Rebecca Peters. I really appreciate you joining up and being a member of the Spartan Defense and Armory channel here. Thank you. I think to be a member, it's only like $2 a month or $3 a month. I'm going to get Alicia to repeat what he's saying. I can't hear him.
That is a good question, sir. And at that point in time, other than the Colorado Rangers, which had been around since the territorial times, we didn't have very much law enforcement of the state at all. You know, we only had the sheriff of the county around. It was the first county.
I'm sorry, it's only $1 a month to be a member of Spartan Defense Armory channel.
Supreme Court said residential law be relative similar to regulation in place ratified in 1791.
Good job, Ian.
1868.
Are you reading that from the Bruin decision?
Yes. Colorado was not a state constitution.
That's correct.
So, with that in mind, I've read this. I consider him does not comply. This is a Colorado law.
Yes.
It does not comply with what the Supreme Court
Or the issue that I have with the decision we're talking about is that Bruin left in place all of the state's gun laws. I tell you, my job would be so easy if the Supreme Court would just be clear about it.
Now, I consider everything.
Has anybody asked about the little boy comment he made? The little boy comment he made?
All right, who's next? All right, next is the guy in the black shirt. I'll stay those.
I hope they don't take your chair while I stand. He's still sitting in that chair.
Right up front, it wouldn't be a conflict. We didn't have equivalent weapons of our end. Okay, these guys over here, police officers, okay, citizens face that same threat that they probably a citizen is probably has to face when they don't do anything, they pick up police. And that's something I want you to understand. You know, in Israel, one conflict where there was only 2 guys, I think, that had rifles. They were able to hold off an entire attack. You know, and that's what I want you to think about. We have to place safe.
Okay. Carl, are we able to put closed captions on?
We can't defend ourselves.
No. Okay. It's live. Can't on a live.
You can't defend assault weapons.
Afterwards we can. Right.
So
afterwards we can.
Just one other thing about the police officers. The guards at Auschwitz were just doing their job too. Understood. So when it comes to,
I wish we'd talk a little bit more about tyrannical governments, but another day. Maybe I'll start.
And it's not just governments. It's potential threats.
Okay.
You know, we owe. You know, and I'll ask you, why do you believe we have the Second Amendment in the first place?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yes. Why do you believe we have a Second Amendment?
I believe that people were to protect the country. They were to protect their homes, they were to protect their lives, they were to protect their livelihood. And even in the very first militia, it says right at the beginning, be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives, and then we told people that they needed to go and purchase their own muskets and arm themselves.
Yeah, a Supreme Love, it does mirror South Africa's standard, and I think that a health and mental check is definitely coming.
Yes, weapons, an equivalent weapon.
I do not at any point in time anticipate that we're going to give you types of weapons the United States government has.
We don't have types of weapons the U.S. government.
So you don't feel that our lives are as worth protecting as the government's?
Okay, but the types of threats that we may have to face, the Israelis weren't. The threat wasn't their government. If people don't think that can happen here,
I appreciate the dialogue. If you were in my seat, which you're welcome to,
take a seat.
Where did you draw the line at where we regulate?
No, that's a
question.
That really is a tough question. But I can tell you, if there were,
I'd like for you to answer it. Where? That's something I have to think about a lot.
Oh, I'm fine.
Where
I'm
do
fine
we
in
draw the line? You're fine in an AR
with a 30-round magazine. I'm good with that because you can do that.
Is that where I should stop it?
Well, there's a big difference here. Here in America, the military aren't behind fortresses. They live next to the guy that flies the drone, that flies the bomber, that flies the fighter. They live right next door to you. You know, it's a whole different environment. You know, but I mean, I'm fine drawing a line at an AR-15. You know, but there was a time when I had no use for an AR-15. There was a time when I didn't feel like I needed to carry a gun that I always do exceedingly well. So, you know, the reality of what can happen, we have to have a weapon that can reasonably defend ourselves from a potential threat, just like those police officers. We face the same threats.
I understand, and I want you to know that my AR-15 doesn't go around with me. I walk around with it. It's not even what I choose to defend my own home with. It's not. People really got spun up on Twitter about that one time. It's not my first choice. I didn't say it shouldn't be yours. If you want an AR-15 in your home, more power to you. It's just not. But I do actually have to stop and think about where that line is. And that line has moved a lot, even in just my law enforcement career, and I'm uncomfortable with how much it's moved.
Why is it your place to make that decision? Your place as the government is to enforce the will of people.
He has been so gracious.
You've hollered at us.
Everybody else got the opportunity. Chris, I hand in the back. Thank you.
I just actually walked up from the street. I didn't know this.
We do have cookies.
Yeah. The idea though, when you mentioned a couple of things that are ability to push back on, you say that
Raise your hand.
Will Long, this FUD needs to meet Bugs Bunny. I agree with you, man. Or, yeah.
Well, it's just going to be the map. Okay, well, it's going to be the AR-15. Then it's going to be your 9mm or your shotgun. And then it's going to be nothing. So it's just like, where is the line on either side of the argument? Where it goes, we're stopping here. 15 mags, 15 for the mag, and that's it. And no more training. That's it. You're stopping. Where is also the time sensitive where, like, training?
The guy in the plaid next to catching is a bomb waiting to go off. Look how red he's getting. Look how frustrated he's getting.
Love it.
Go back to tape and we do it because it didn't work in the first place. And then I guess really my general question was, since you do this day in and day out, what's the temperature of everybody? Because you hear this word about wars or civil war when we reach some type of point where it's here's my view, and we're not having that civil discourse anymore. It is getting to the point where it's like, this is how I'm voting, and that's it. I see the data, this side is wrong, this side is right. It's very polarized to a point where, well, we're done giving authority to, our legislature. We're taking it back, that's whatever, tree of liberty has to be brought, whatever. What do you see on a daily? I don't see it, but what do you see?
I appreciate it. You just randomly stumbled in here. That is
interesting.
I wish I believed you. You just stumbled in.
Put him under oath.
Anyway, excellent. I appreciate that you're here. And that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Know where the line is, but I do have to think about it every day. Yeah. And I am saddled with looking at the legislation that is presented to me, unless I run it on my own. Those are my choices. I don't get to opine about what future elected leaders are going to do. I don't get to opine about who you're going to elect.
Egregious blunder. It's been all opposition. There's been one lady that was like in more of a neutral standpoint. Didn't really know about the content or the concept of what's going on. Other than that, everybody's been against.
Constantly seen on Twitter lately, they will replace me. So be it.
He's asking to be replaced.
So, sorry to jump ahead. I just
What
know.
was the question that he asked? Where is the line? What is the temperature?
Yeah,
I can tell you the temperature is getting hotter and hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
The kind of comments, the kind of emails, the kind of voicemails that I contend with on a daily basis are unfucking believable.
You think it's gonna hit that red at some point?
I think it's gonna take 2 people out of this job. I don't know why I took this seat because somebody couldn't handle it. She resigned because of the vitriolic nature of the work that she was in. And let me tell you, that was nothing compared to what I deal with on a daily basis right now on a bill I have never even run. I had ladies like her calling me a freaking pedophile on Twitter.
You are. Someone bring it up.
Make shit up.
I believe the recording is real.
So even legislators are getting upset.
Yeah, it's boiling over. It's a hard environment. I still go to work and I'm nice to people. Not boiling up where I am. I carry a pitchfork to no meeting And I have answered every call, and I've been as respectful as I possibly could as anybody that's came. So boy, you don't hold my hand if you want to, just get to work with me. That fair?
Yeah, I have 3 kids, so I'm just kind of wondering, like, do I get out this 1858, or do I wait till 1861, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, I feel bad.
Just like I have to mark where the line is and where we stop regulating, because it's my constitutional job as an elected official that has to actually go and make that determination. You'll have to make that determination for yourself. Just like the guy that sat at my desk the other day that told me that the state of Colorado was now a tyrannical government and they probably didn't provide stuff. No, I do not recommend that. We will put you in prison or we will shoot you. We do that. If Texas succeeds from the nation, they will be a tyrannical government.
He's talking about succession and shooting people that revolt.
Even I might make it. Right there. Okay. Thank you for your patience.
I'm actually for our house district. I fully support everyone else here apparently, because I'm with children. I want to feel safe that my children are going to school and not getting shot, because that's a huge issue in our country right now with mass shootings. And that terrifies me every single day. So even if it's just a little bit of percentage that will be less likely to happen to my future children, I'll for it. For a little bit more training, no one's taking away the gun.
I love how they look at me.
There's just a little ridiculous to me that this is even the main focus. I wanted to hear about education. I wanted to hear about our tyrannical government. But the whole focus was about this one regulation on guns, and that is just upsetting. Because I just care, I want safety.
Thanks, guys. I'm engaging in the chat and taking questions from people right now.
Thank you. Who's next?
First, I want to apologize.
I really don't mind. I don't remember. So thank you. I apologize.
Sergeant Simple 5, word protection. Eliminating the second election.
Yes, I am a co-sponsor of that bill.
What are we doing to pressure?
You know, that is a fun thing. I parked in his parking space when we came the last time that he vetoed the workers' rights bill. And we showed up with a whole lot of people that were very, very mean that day to him, and I thought that it was actually possibly a little too many, maybe not. I don't know.
This is being held at Centennial at a library at a school. Is where this is being held. There was about 3 people there that were there for other reasons. Everybody else wanted to know about 003. About 3 or 4 people there were there for school funding. And they left the room to go speak to the other House rep who's going to be voting in favor of this bill tomorrow, Eliza.
I think that one's fair. So I am a co-sponsor of that bill. I support that bill. I actually do some work for that bill. Thank you. Next. I do want to try to get to everybody, and I won't leave until your questions are answered. And
he just said he won't leave till the questions are answered. Let's get that juicy one. Let's get in there.
Gentlemen here at stage left, just like to put some purpose. There has to be purpose. Work. Purpose is to save lives.
That's what I believe it is.
Okay, let's just put aside God's for a second. Why doesn't the effort that's been put behind this deal? One is addressing fentanyl. If you want to get a lot of money, saving lives, drug trafficking, child trafficking, people who drink and drive, there are just exponential greater deaths caused by that. We have 1,143 kids who committed suicide in the state last year. Okay, that's fine.
How did they commit it?
Well, hang, all kinds of ways.
We have 1,143 kids.
No, I just think,
I'm just not disputing fact. He might dispute it, but it's not a disputable fact. There are more kids dying in United States of America every year, firearms death, any other cause.
That's not true.
Tell the chief.
That's not true.
Who's not true?
That's not true. No, it's not true. It's not true.
Not true at all.
Abortion kills more kids. And those numbers also include 18 and 19-year-olds.
That's true.
I was talking to her.
3,000 firearm deaths a year, 50,000 people get firearms. What we don't say is that probably a third of all kids, are the result of suicide. And we also, in the past years, have had more drownings in pools than suicides with firearms. But yet we don't outlaw.
Where is firearms?
It's about the fourth down.
I was wrong.
Those statistics include.
And if we taught firearm safety in schools, kids wouldn't have these issues.
And they also include 18 and 19-year-olds that are adults.
My apologies for whatever inaccurate statement. Who was that?
It wasn't an accurate statement, Chad. Stop lying. Let's put him under oath.
You already went, right? The green jacket, he's already gone. He has not.
When I say training, I mean training kids, children in schools. I don't know if y'all have seen, but Arkansas has now made firearms education a requirement in public education in the state of Arkansas. I think it's great for public schools to offer this. It used to be done. There's a lot of mishaps and negligence when it was.
Have you ever been to look like the whole time
Actually,
I'll tell you, you're spitting.
Yes, sir.
No, I was.
Your turn. Oh,
Yeah, because I was sitting. I just real quick, demographics. We talk about people, and this is directly related to the cost of what we spend with this year. In 2023, 2024 stats are not out yet, data directly, but 2023, your biggest demographics are the firearm purchases. Of the female group, the largest purchasers were Black. Now, the bill didn't want to disproportionately affect minorities. I think fortunately a lot of us live in areas that we're not afraid to go out of our home, walk down to the grocery store, something like that. You can't say that about a lot of homes in Denver. There's neighborhoods you won't even walk out in daylight hours without you have law enforcement around, something like that to deter them happening. But overall and everything, they live in some pretty bad neighborhoods. Minorities have historically gone out and tried to protect themselves. The homes they live into, protect their families, their kids, and everything. They are not. What we're doing is subjecting them to buy or to have to.
No, more than 50% of the state of Colorado are firearms owners. Kim Norris's question.
Okay.
For this.
We will ask the opinion of the Black women in the Capitol.
Close to like 65%, if I remember correct.
It will disproportionately affect minorities too.
Yeah, what no one's mentioned is the enforcement of this bill. Who do you think is going to get stopped in a vehicle and given the benefit of the doubt that their gun was grandfathered in versus bought afterwards without a COID or FOID card?
I'm happy to make sure that we are engaged in that question. I'll get your information. They kind of want to talk to you. Who's next?
Say again. Okay. So, living in districts, Denver, Memphis State, have a business in your district that manufacturing. So, but one of your business is manufacturing firearms. Awesome. And so, one of the things that I think has changed is people talk about threats and threats and others. Look, from my perspective, living in Capitol, burning, protests, and everything else, right? Live with my girlfriend, walk the dog, I have a concealed carry, and I have multiple concealed carry as well because that's my restrictions, but we have groups, right? And my point I want to bring up is
yes, you have done maintenance through, and it's, gives you, which is unfortunate and horrible, but walking the dog, and I got a 7-year-old kid, right? I'm not walking you out of that condo, right? Without having multiple magazines. That's fair. That 15 rounds with a group of 100. All you have to do is have one, the Comcast white tee, a real rock, and light the whole thing apart, right? Because when you watch the demographics that was going on during that time, I was more concerned about those kids who did masks on than it was the people that were there during the day actually trying to make change. Got it? It's a huge different population there. I do think that when you're thinking about this, it's our demographics have changed. And it's just to piggyback on women's comment, I got my girlfriend together in Syndicate, which is awesome. She won't take us, right? She doesn't want to be around a bunch of macho dudes, but guns, right? She's not going to take that, right? So you are going to disproportionately hurt women who do want to protect themselves. Quite frankly, these classes. Hold on just a second. Is she planning on carrying a rifle? Not a rifle, but she would take. My point is the class. But you don't get to do both. Is she carrying? You're telling me that she is not going to get rifle trained. Is she planning on carrying a rifle? No. She doesn't need rifle training. So
it's not true.
Well, I'm using her as an example. So if she will not take a class, even pistol, like she took concealed carry, that was untenable. If this bill passes, it's a training. She will have to reload after her 16th round.
How can she do that with a fixed mag?
She wants to have a rifle, and this bill passes. Which, by the way, I don't know that it will. And we had a bill the other day that was just for gun shows, and the major gun shows had lobbyists that were actively engaged. And we worked very diligently with them to make sure that they got all the things that they asked for. This man right here said something on the dais in the State Senate Veterans and Military Affairs Committee that made me tell the sponsors that day that I would not support it at all if they didn't change what it was to be a vendor. And we worked to make sure that it got changed because of some words that came out of his mouth. And their people worked all the way through that. I don't have a thing about that. This bill, if it passes, in that scenario, she does not want training, she wants to have a rifle, then she will have to reload after the 16th round. That is the only thing that changes. She does not have to get training. And if she does not want training, she does not want a rifle, she does not need it. Thank you. Chris?
We have. Good evening, Representative.
Good evening.
My goal was not to hit the platform and not through district, but we never had a plot. I heard that a lot of people about today. I just need to hear what people are saying. You mentioned the gun show, and I did call out that if any of the gun show folks that creates a new crime, participated in certain lists of activities without a federal firearms license. And you did bring an amendment, and you supported a subsequent amendment to try and fix up that language. And then so that bill did pass, and it's now in the Senate. So it's kind of cool. But right now, the language as it's fixed, so it says publicly exhibit. And so there's just different opinion based off of one side's counsel and the other side's counsel on publicly exhibit right now. What it looks like is, so I'll be a team where you can have deep right contacts this. You're interested.
I mean, I'm always interested. I'm not going to see that bill again.
So I have a question that I guess would be relevant to you. So currently it looks like
this is catching from our MGO that's talking right now, guys.
They exhibit a gun, they pull out a gun anywhere that's not private. They're still on the hook.
Hey, Carl, can you crank my volume
If it
up a
turns
bunch?
out
Thank you.
if either law enforcement or court,
Just for me to hear.
In that way, not court.
Okay.
Willing to run a bill, fix that.
I think if that's still ambiguous, they should still fix it in the Senate. I made it very, very, very clear We expect you to be able to bring your guns to a gun show. We expect you to be able to go consign your guns at a gun show, sell your guns to a gun dealer at a gun show, trade a gun at a gun show using a licensed FFL. What you normally do at a
Please
gun
make sure you
show,
like and subscribe. We are fighting an anti-2A algorithm.
the
Ring
only
that
thing
bell,
that I
subscribe,
think
turn
that
on all
should have changed
notifications,
is
and
now
or
gun
become a
show
member of the Spartan
operator
Defense YouTube
will
channel
have to
today.
make
It's
sure
$1 a
if they
month.
see
That's all it
things that are
is
illegal,
to help
et
support
cetera,
us and to help
the
us
gun
continue
show
to make
operator
content like this.
will have to do that, regardless of whether somebody's got an FFL or not. Again, another bill that wasn't mine, but when I heard anything at all, both from the lobbyists that were hired to work that bill, or from you or anybody else, when there was a reasonable accommodation that I could make to correct it. And I also want you to know that their lobbyists didn't try to kill it. The largest gun show operator in this state was very, very respectful. I appreciate how they lobby. I wish that the 2A lobbyists from the different organizations that possibly invited you here or put my phone number next to a phone or pasted my face up on a billboard or is going to have mailers sent out to those of you that live in my district next to Hitler or something like that. They might be. Oh no, I'm sure they're in the trash. That's what they do. That's how these organizations are functioning. So the case with, hold on, it's my turn. I wish you were a real lobbyist that sat at the table and worked with these people. When I run legislation, my opponents are literally at the table with me working it out. When I run law enforcement bills, the county sheriffs of Colorado, chiefs of police are there, DAs are there, but so is community, the media, so are all the people that would be on the opposite side of any part of that, and I bring them all together and we work out the language together. And I hold up the legislation and hold up the legislation.
Yeah, Missy, they do plan to destroy FFLs. I actually reached out to 50 FFLs in that district today, and almost half of them have shut down shop and are moving out of state in that district right now. It's having the effect that they want, just the threat of this bill.
Sit at the table.
6.5% excise tax, state licensing. Now we have a semi-automatic ban, which would ban 90% of the business that FFLs do. Just so you know, guys, he's saying that it's only rifles. It's not only rifles. There's plenty of gas-operated pistols out there, like the Lago Alien, the Desert Eagle. There's numerous amounts of them out there.
Fundraising. I watch an industry run on gun bills without even talking to the sponsors. That is not what happened on the gun show bill. Sir, you
This guy is garbage. If you live in his district, it's time to run somebody against him and to take a seat.
You could actually sit and work with the sponsors on legislation. They would probably listen to you because you were nice and respectful. You have been.
We have been nice and respectful. I've met with over 40 or 50 state reps and senators from both sides of the aisle, many of which are the Democrats. They fell on deaf ears, people. We tried sugar.
That's not 2A.
Didn't work. It's time to try salt. That's what this is tonight.
I appreciate the job that you've been hired to do, and I will always be respectful of you. But I do hope that you guys change what you're doing.
Yeah, Rebecca, he did.
Do you have another question?
Yes, sir. So one follow-up. 3.5 minutes. So first, I want to ask you again if you'd be willing to take up a new bill to fix this legislation if it ends up being.
Which, if
it is on the Senate right now. So we're to get it fixed in the Senate.
Well, I have to answer your question with a no. And the last thing I ever want to do in my entire legislative
He was asked if he's willing to kill this bill so that it can be fixed first before bringing
let
it
me
into a full
assure
vote.
you,
He said no.
it is not what I'm working on.
Fantastic. So
I am working on legislation to make him safe.
So he can interrupt us, but we can interrupt him.
Rules for thee, but not for me. You're right, Alicia.
They have far more resources, and function gun show bill makes it way harder for any other competing gun shows to operate in the state. So I can see where it may be in their interest to support a bill like that they snuck out smaller communities. I haven't talked with them recently. So again, put that on this record that was their intent. That is a byproduct. Thirdly, your charge that we don't sit down at the table. Again, I didn't come here to be on platform. Yeah. But
you're welcome here.
So some of our team did go and work with did go to one of the stakeholder meetings before that gun show particularly. They shared peace. They were not satisfied with the bill in any way, shape, or form. They were used to, or that team member as a token example of someone who's at the table, even though all they provided was that the bill is terrible and needs that. And so you use the word compromise a lot, and that's where we have our most fundamental disagreement about gun rights. We don't exist to compromise, and that's something that we're very vocal about. And unfortunately, there are many folks who feel powerless, and they feel like they need to compromise in a space where the legislators, the government, because they don't know how else. That's where my organization exists to be a pillar representing values, not compromise. Because when we go and sit down there, all that is asked is, what sort of gun control do you accept? What sort of ways can you whittle down rights? I won't belabor that point, but that's where we're coming from.
Hold on just a second.
I just want to ask, what organization
Do you think
I would talk about
this helped you get my vote?
Who brought that?
I don't know. I got videos of him putting them on all sorts of public officials' doors.
I don't think these are.
Those aren't from Rocky Mountain gun owners.
It is orange. Oh, I don't know who made this, but
yes, sir.
Do you want me to show them video of you putting these on doors?
It's not this. You can show the videos of
one that looks very much like
this. Those orange.
Do you think your advocacy is helping get me to vote your cause?
I did not speak to anyone in your district, sir. I came to.
I appreciate it, but you're here at my town hall, House District Number 7, where I've got a Moms Demand Action person that's sitting right over there too. They show up to all the stuff.
I believe.
Do you think that being put on the doors of the elected officials is helping you?
This is not.
Do you not that particular piece of paper, some other egregious piece that's similarly egregious? Do you want me to show pictures?
I am interested in what that is.
Can you post what you put on the website?
Yeah. No, please do. It's going to be on my website.
Yes, sir.
And I have been kind to you when you're going to people's doors. Their children are coming home, finding this stuff.
Jeremy Manson, guys. Jeremy Manson here with us
That's
today.
not how
Here
you
he is.
engage with elected officials. That's not what registered lobbyists
Thank you, Jeremy.
do in this state. That's not how we do this.
Those legislators were not singled out.
Sir, it's bullshit.
So it's okay to cuss at people too and raise your voice at them? You're saying that you want respect, but you're sitting here hollering and cussing at people? I didn't say anything about you. I didn't say anything about you. You said it about you. I reshared it. It was your voice saying it.
Bring it up, Alicia. Tell him. Do it.
You weren't elected. You were appointed and you ran unopposed.
Makes me less confident because somebody didn't run against me.
Yes.
I think we are finished tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate your
Say it,
time.
Alicia.
If anybody wants to have further dialogue with me, my cell phone is available. Oh, did we still have one more?
Get for 12.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All I was gonna do is answer the very first question. Okay. And on
My apologies that you asked.
Okay. Number one, in this state, it's and the players, they vote 90%. So when you say you're unbiased.
House District 37 is an equal Democratic.
I'm saying this state. I said this state. And I appreciate it. What I was going to say about the Second Amendment is you brought up color. He said, we didn't even think about it up until you know why we didn't think about it? Because up until about that time, people got arrested for doing bad stuff. The legislature, particularly Colorado, Illinois, New York, California,
This guy's getting in Ketching's face. Oh, man.
to make sure that they make laws less effective for people who are bad. You can find examples. You look it up in the picture.
let me tell you something.
People that are.
Yeah, he's in catching space. What's that?
No, the guy Ian's with right now, he's shaking hands with me.
Okay.
Should ever do that out of the street.
I do not.
Where was the legislature?
Oh, okay. I'm on a delay. Thank you.
You seem all about making me, my wife, that FFL person over there.
Yeah, I wish we could play the creepy clip on him in that room. We just don't have the audio to do it. We did play it earlier in this video of what he stated. This is his actual audio. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He stated that he realized he was gay when he saw a little gay boy at a funeral. That's what made him realize that he was gay. What's that? Yeah, if you want to play it again, let's do it. And just the actual audio from him, not the because we didn't put that out. Somebody else put that other stuff out, but just the actual audio of him. Okay. Okay.
I won't even go downtown because you can't walk safely across town. I used to work down. I got accosted and accosted numerous times. It's because that is not the reason. It is a reason that we have a problem. And people here have decided I need to protect myself. Now, the lady here who is concerned about her kids, there are 1,000 things, you know, here that you can find 500 of them that would protect school students. Among them, having a security person in there. Among them,
hey guys, this isn't going to be our only. This isn't going to be our only town hall that we're going to go to. People, thank you for viewing. By the way, we're going to do more of these. All your donations to this channel will go towards those efforts, guys, to keep broadcasting this stuff, showing up at these things, driving to these things, and setting up. Next time, we will have better audio equipment in the room. In this situation, we weren't able to bring it in; they wouldn't allow us.
It sucks. When I was a kid, older than you, when I was a child, we didn't.
Here's that audio.
Yeah, that was an era of having to crawl on your desk because of the atomic bomb.
But I think about that when I think about somebody in their own instance, because I didn't really fully, on my own accord, come to terms with being gay until I was at a funeral of a friend. And there was a little boy in the crowd who was clearly the gayest little thing I had ever seen.
Just celibate.
Hold on just a second. I don't see it. I don't see that kind of propaganda. I do see people that are engaged in dialogue. And I've worked in a place of politics where we deal with that stuff every day, not every bill.
But the nationally, if I turn on the news and there was a shooting, I guarantee that the first thing will be on the recent thing where
things are changing. I don't know. This is terrible. Just today, I was confronted with someone that was talking about failure to enforce laws, and I found out that the laws have been there. They haven't been changed. And the legislature still gets blamed for not having them. I've got a district attorney that negotiates something down to a misdemeanor that was already a felony.
You don't need to send us anything. If you don't have anything to donate, it's not a big deal. Just help us spread the word. We just need help spreading the word about the channel, spreading about what's going on here in Colorado and what's going on with the legislator.
In the terms of what you're talking about, I just want you to know something. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we didn't train police officers to go run into gunfire.
They're asking for the number in the chat. Yeah, he publicly put this number out, so just to be clear, we are not doxing anybody here. This is the number that he put out in this meeting, in this town hall. We'll put it in the chat here in a sec.
Wherever they are. We have not been dealing with them. We are in a new era and a new time. I'm not okay with criticizing on both sides. I'm not okay with it. I want to also know that my views come from another place. When I was a young police officer, we did not have You could not go purchase a 15-round anything.
Oh, really? I'm that far. You know what? I might be.
During the time when I first came out, during the Clinton administration, and during different stuff, that if you had a 17-round magazine for a Glock, it had law enforcement.
I got it for you, bud.
And it wasn't like you couldn't go purchase Pre-Man. It's not like they didn't exist. They were rare. You certainly didn't find them at a gun show, and you were never going to find them at Centennial Gun Club. And not for your video. Centennial Gun Club's a beautiful place. I shoot there.
Chad says he shoots at Centennial Gun Club. I think they should take his membership back. Centennial are good people, too. They've been very active in this fight against him. In fact, they may be starting a recall initiative for this here soon. We'll see. We'll see if the numbers say it's okay. All right, I'm going to post this number again, guys. The number that he gave out publicly.
I wonder how many things tonight we can talk about other things.
The number is 205-807-5529.
Oh, let me put that away for you, ma'am.
No, we got one more question going. Excuse me.
You have a nice night. No, I'm not. Catching who's here. But our name of my company is Syndicate. I'm a huge 2A advocate. We testify all the time against gun control. We have a YouTube channel with over 430,000 subscribers. That's what is being live streamed right now on YouTube. And it's Spartan Defense Armory in Colorado Springs. They're my business partners. I don't. I'm not actually do that. You have a cell phone?
I can give you his.
I'll text you.
I didn't know what to expect, so.
So it looks like the meeting's winding down here, folks. I think Alicia is going to go up and talk to him here in a second. It looks like I'm not 100% sure. We'll see. We'll see what Clifford has to say to her and if he's polite or not. I have a feeling he won't be, but we will see.
What? We're kind of this here. I'm like, well, we need to go say something.
Well, we'd love to have your voice, and we appreciate your support. Thank you. Thank you so much. You gentlemen have a nice evening. Good night, folks. So that's that. It looks like we're going to be getting out of here. This guy doesn't want to have anything more to say to us. He's been a dick, just like Chad Clifford always is. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. I'm going to get out of here. Let's hope I don't run into the guy who has a shirt that said, I don't need a gun to beat you up outside. Because
Send me your YouTube channel so I can watch your video.
all right. Well, say goodbye, everybody. Say all the things you want about
Here,
Chad.
can I put this audio on real quick for you? It's awesome.
Sure.
It's him. Awesome. Let me restart. There we go.
Can't hear it. I can't hear what he's playing.
This is in a Senate committee hearing, that man admitting to being a pedophile. He said that he found out he was gay when he saw a little boy. That's some crazy shit.
At a funeral.
Elected office. At a funeral. That's what he's thinking about.
And the little boy was crying at a funeral, and he saw that he knew at that moment when he saw a little boy crying that he was gay.
Hey, A Supreme Love, if you bring that AR by to us, we'll engrave Sullivan's picture on it for you. We actually have that file.
I mean, we have people that are watching right now live that couldn't be here. No, this is on YouTube. It's live right now. We're on Spartan Defense Armory on YouTube. We have over 430,000 subscribers. Hello. Hi. Yes. Yes. So I'm Alicia.
I tried to give good argument.
Are you the folks responsible for this tonight?
I was the one that got pushed.
We have that on video also.
That's hilarious.
So
I didn't know this actually, if community pressure, is this would be if enough people do it.
well, I put it to you this way. Did you not see how he tried to make me leave earlier? Oh, you weren't here. Okay.
Kick her out.
Pardon me. Yeah, so when I arrived earlier, he said I wasn't allowed to be here. I wasn't allowed to film. I said, I absolutely am. I have press credentials and I have the voice of the people. I have the right to free speech and I have a right to do this. And he asked me to leave, but it's obvious that he knows who we are. He doesn't like what we're doing. He doesn't like that we're resisting. He doesn't like that we're pushing back.
We'll post that
We had
for
a
you
rally
later.
that
We
we
got pictures
held
of it, and
a
it's
couple
in the
weeks
video
ago at the
if you scroll back as you
Capitol.
watch this.
We put
Also,
together in 4
for
days.
those of
We
you
had
who
over
couldn't hear
130
very well, you can
people
always
show
turn
up that
subtitles
we
on.
today. We're
After
tired
we're
of
live,
dealing with this
becomes
authoritarian
not live, if that makes sense.
nonsense of them telling us
Takes
what
a
our
little while
rights
for
are.
YouTube
He's
to
literally
upload the subtitles.
using his platform to say he's a cop and he's been a cop and all this stuff. He was a cop for 1.5 years. That's it. That's it.
Guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. Thank you all those that donated to the channel to keep this type of political action going, guys, and to keep these types of hearings and these streams that we're doing going. We really do appreciate you all. Make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure that if you want to become a member of the Star Defense Armor channel.
Get out of here unless anybody wants to.
Thank you, Alicia.
Talk,
we
but
appreciate you, girl. We'll talk here soon.
I appreciate y'all.
But yeah, if you want to subscribe, if you want to become a member of the Star Defense channel, it's 99 cents a month, guys. It really does support us. It really brings money in to help us be able to improve the quality of these streams and to get this content to you every time. This is not going to be the only one we do. We will be streaming tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. from the Capitol to be able to show you the hearing of Senate Bill 003 and the full House vote that will occur tomorrow. There will be a number of amendments presented, both by Republicans and Democrats, on this bill. We will see if it passes through the House. The expectation is that it will. But of course, we will be bringing you up-to-date information and political inside information because we are in touch with multiple state representatives and state senators, many of which those representatives will be in that room tomorrow giving us information in advance. So make sure you follow the Second Syndicate. Make sure you tune in and watch us live tomorrow at 9 a.m. And we will see you there. And we will bring you exclusive content. Thank you, guys. We're going to get shut down for tonight. And we'll see you here soon. God bless.